Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is rush, and this verb was suggested by the viewer Luis. Luis, thank you so much for the suggestion. Now, let's spend a moment reviewing some of the definitions or ways that we can use this verb. The first way you might encounter the verb rush can mean to move with urgent haste. For this first meaning, I want you to think about a situation in which you have been late. Right? Are you moving quickly? Maybe you're late leaving your home to go to work or to school. So maybe you're walking very quickly, maybe even running, grabbing things, maybe taking some food with you because you don't have time to sit down and eat before school. This verb captures that action. A second way you might encounter the verb rush can mean to flow strongly. With this second definition, many times you'll hear of water rushing in a particular direction or in some way. You might also hear air being described using this verb as well. A third way to use the verb rush can mean to dash towards someone or something as in a way that's meant to either attack or capture someone. Specific to this third definition, if you happen to follow American football, then you might also hear this used as well. So that idea, I guess to be a bit more specific, someone's running at someone in order to tackle them. Now, a fourth way to use the verb rush is very specific to American culture. Let's look at that definition. It says to entertain a new student to assess their suitability for membership in a college fraternity or sorority. These are social organizations that many times are kind of separated. Fraternities tend to be for men, sororities for women, and I was not a part of these while in college, but for many people, they do get excited about these social organizations. They are at many colleges and universities, not all, but that process of figuring out who is going to join a particular one uses this verb as well. For now, you should know that rush is a regular verb. If you want to make the progressive form of this verb, all you need to do is add ing, and that forms rushing. The past tense and the participle form of our verb can be made by adding ed. Now, the base verb, rush, ends in an unvoiced sh sound. This means when I add the ed ending, I'm going to make a t sound. I'm not going to add an extra syllable when I say it. So the past tense and the participle form of the verb should sound like this. Rushed, rushed. Now, there are a number of phrasal verbs that use rush, so we'll be focusing our discussion on those today, and I'll try and mention and review some verb tenses as we go along. The first phrasal verb we'll discuss is to rush at. Again, this might be a bit similar to that third definition we talked about a few minutes ago, so that's to run towards someone or something in an aggressive way. An example of this might be, the vicious animal rushed at the man and attempted to bite him. So again, we can kind of imagine something running toward to attack here. Another phrasal verb you might encounter is to rush for. This can be used in different ways. One way to use it is to describe moving towards someone or something in a rather frantic way. An example of this in a sentence might be, why do people rush for the gates to board planes? Right? So it's kind of like that push, everybody stands up, moves really quickly to get in line to board. Now, I know some people, my husband falls into this group, he wants to be the last person on the plane because it's like, why do I want to be on there any longer than I have to? Now, a second way to use rush for can mean to attempt to accomplish, achieve, or obtain something in a hasty or frantic way. An example of this might be, he's been rushing for a promotion, but he isn't really ready to take on more complex work. So here, someone's maybe trying to get promoted in a way that's quicker than normal, or maybe done in a faster way than what's generally occurring. But this attempt to accomplish here is sort of met with a little bit of criticism. Let's go to another phrasal verb. The next one is to run in or run into. It can also have different meanings. One way to use it is to describe moving with great haste, either inward or into some place. An example of this might be, the firefighters rushed into the burning building. So, of course, they're going to be moving quickly. There is an emergency. People's lives could be in danger. A second way to use rush in or rush into might be to undertake something without proper consideration or proper preparation. An example of this in a sentence might be, don't rush into another relationship. Take your time getting to know her. Okay? So here, we've got an example of the imperative. Someone is giving a command, right? And sort of saying, take time getting to know someone. Don't automatically kind of become boyfriend and girlfriend, or maybe something even a little more serious in terms of a romantic relationship. Now, I know I didn't mention all the different verb tenses that have been used here, so let's do a quick recap. The vicious animal rushed at is an example of the simple past. So we're talking about a completed action at a known point in the past. The second example, why do people rush for the gates? This is a more information question in the simple present. Third example, he's been rushing for a promotion, is an example of the present perfect progressive. So we have has, of course that's been combined with he to form the contraction he's. He has been rushing. Again, present perfect progressive or present perfect continuous. The firefighters rushed into the burning building is an example of the simple past tense. Okay, let's continue reviewing some more phrasal verbs. The next one we'll discuss is to rush off. This can mean that someone is leaving or departing in haste, so they're doing it quickly. An example of this is, I'm going to rush off after this meeting to make sure I catch my flight. This is an example of the simple future using be going to. I'm discussing my plans. I plan to leave quickly. So not going to stick around, say goodbye, chit chat with people. I'm taking off. A second way to use rush off could mean to send something in great haste. And typically this, you might find this being used with mail or other mail delivery services. An example of this could be, we'll rush off a replacement to you immediately. So maybe this is a customer service department. Someone is unhappy or they didn't get what they needed. And here we've got simple future making a promise to send a replacement item as quickly as they can. Another phrasal verb you might encounter is to rush out. One way to use this is to talk about exiting or escaping or departing very quickly, or exiting all at once, escaping all at once. An example of this might be, the bubbling liquid is rushing out of the pot. So here, this might be that escape. It's getting out of the vessel or thing we wanted it to stay in. The bubbling liquid is rushing out is an example of the present progressive or present continuous, describing something that's happening right now. A second way to use rush out could mean to develop some product very quickly and then also release it, generally prematurely. So maybe before it's ready or before a chance to make improvements has been made. So an example of this, they rushed out this product and now there's a recall. So this particular sentence is in the simple past tense. It's describing a completed action, but the company here, or groups of individuals, maybe have made something so quickly. Now maybe there's a safety issue, and so they're announcing that people need to return the item, or maybe have a repair, something like that, to make sure the item is safe. The last phrasal verb we'll discuss today is to rush through. We're also going to discuss 2 ways to use it. The first way to use it is to mean to travel through some place. An example of this: the ambulance is rushing through traffic now. So that's another present progressive or present continuous describing something that's happening right now. A second way to use rush through means to hurry to do something, or to hurry to complete something. An example of this: you rushed through this test and made a number of mistakes. That's another simple past tense sentence, and it's a sentence very similar to things I have said to students over the years. So trying to work too quickly can lead to mistakes. So hurrying just to finish, just to be done, sometimes isn't a good choice. So now let's spend a moment looking at some words that are related to our verb rush. And the first word we're going to start with is our noun form. The noun rush has a number of different meanings. I think I picked out 7 for us to discuss. So the first way you'll hear this noun used is to talk about a sudden, quick movement toward something. An example of this might be: there was a rush for seats as soon as the doors opened. So maybe there's some kind of event or concert. There's not assigned seating. So as soon as those doors open, people are making quick movements in order to find a seat. A second way to use the noun rush is to talk about a sudden flow, or maybe even a sudden flood of something. An example of this: a rush of water started flowing over the road. That might connect well to the definition of flood, right? A third way to use the noun rush can mean a flurry of hasty activity. So some businesses might say, get ready for the weekend rush, right? So they're anticipating maybe more customers, maybe it's more phone calls, something like that. And again, the idea is it's happening very quickly. A fourth way to use the noun rush is to talk about a sudden, strong demand for a commodity. An example of this might be: there was a rush on toilet paper in March 2020. I'm sorry, I've got a typo in that sentence. So I always think back to the pandemic and what a weird time that was, and how many people were going to the grocery store or to other businesses and buying all the toilet paper they could find, to the point where we had very little on our shelves. We're on to our fifth way to use the noun rush, and that's to refer to a sudden and intense feeling. An example of this in a sentence might be: she was filled with a rush of fury. So think even maybe a little more stronger than just anger, right? Taking it up a notch. A sixth way to use the noun rush, though, can also refer to a sudden thrill, maybe a feeling of euphoria. So a lot of pleasure and happiness that might work there. So an example of this: they experienced a rush on the new roller coaster. So here, right, lots of different maybe feelings that are going on as someone's riding an amusement park ride, but that feeling of a thrill, you might hear it described as a rush. The last way we're going to discuss how you might encounter this verb can refer to a type of marsh or waterside plant. I've got a picture. It's a little grainy, but you can tell it tends to grow rather long and skinny. You may not encounter this a lot, but if you would happen to work in agriculture, you might see that used as a noun. So an example of this could be, they pulled rushes from the overgrown flower bed. This is going to be describing the kind of plant. Maybe somebody had wanted it there at a certain point of time, but no longer. Another related word we'll talk about today is the noun rush hour. This refers to a particular time during each day when traffic is at its heaviest. So you might hear people talk about morning rush hour and evening. That tends to coincide where many people are traveling and typically traveling to work and or to school. So an example of this in a sentence might be, I avoid that highway during rush hour. So whatever particular roadway here, maybe it's just really, really busy. Maybe it's very congested. Things are slow. So here someone is communicating, I avoid that area. And it's probably maybe between 7 and 9 in the morning and 4 to 6 at night. It can vary in different communities, but that tends to be a bit typical here in the US and in the Midwest where I live. Again, I want to say a special thanks to Luis for suggesting today's verb. I thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.